Okay, so we're just going to have one last pass on of this lane on this Himalayan. Still taking it steady, still recovering from a broken ankle, although I've got a lot more strength in it. Just going to turn around immediately. One of the things I do like about this bike, it's got a good turning circle. Quite nice tight turning, that helps on these kind of lanes. Something I have noticed, it is quite easily to stall, so it does need a little bit of clutch feathering on these sort of slower, muddier or tighter turns. I've removed the rubber inserts on the foot pegs just to give me a bit more grip. I've been down this lane once just to get a feel for the bike. How does it perform over in the dirt? It performs very well. Crucial things on the standing position. At the minute, I've not moved the bars or anything. They're nicely rotated forward for an upright stance, so I'm not hunched over the bars. I'm 5'10". The bars are perfectly wide enough for some good leverage. The foot pegs nicely spaced. There was an initial thought of a bit of a splay around the knee area where the side panels sort of push your knees out. But having been down here once, I think I kind of adjusted to the point of not noticing it, so which is good. The one thing I've been impressed by is the suspension. People talk about it being budget suspension. Well, budget it might be, but it does perform. This is obviously not a fast pace, and this is not riding this like an enduro bike. It is riding the standard dual sport tyres, the MT60 Dunlop, so they're not really a mud tyre. So just taking it steady. But the suspension over this kind of terrain at this kind of speed does a very good job of absorbing the bumps and the ruts. It doesn't throw the bike out of line. It's got a nice sort of compromise between compliancy and suppleness, but also control. I think if you start to push on a lot harder, it'll probably start to kick out a little bit and to get yourself tied up in knots. But if you're going to be pushing on hard, I suppose this is not the bike that you're going to choose to do it on. The power, what I like, well, not so much the power, but the engine. What I like about this single 410cc engine with 24.5 brake horsepower, it's obviously not going to pull your arms off with its power, but it delivers the power very smoothly, very linear, very responsive on the throttle. And what's good for trail riding on these kind of lanes is that it'll chug really nicely. So we're in second gear, doing 10 miles an hour. It's not lurching, the fueling's very good, it's very smooth pickup. You're not having to go down into first, which I find, say on the CRF 250, you generally have to be down into first, and then there's a big gap from first to second. This is taking second gear all day long, and it's just chugging along. I'm on part throttle, the engine's barely ticking over, and it's just cruising along, doing sort of 15-20 miles an hour. Happy days. But I also like it, especially when you stood up, it's got a nice crisp gear change. It's very easy to engage when you're stood up. It's nicely positioned for an upright gear change. It's a very positive action on the up and on the down. Also, equally, the back brake is nicely positioned. I do have to lift my toe just to get on it a little bit, but it's better than that. It's better than the lever being too far down and having to go forward and down with your toe to activate the rear brake. So the position of the foot controls is very good. I have found on some of this terrain the ground clearance is not so much the ground clearance of the engine, which is 820 millimeters, so it's only about 35 millimeters lower than a CRF 250. But what I find is the foot pegs are catching on the ruts, which, you know, it's one of the issues of green laning in the UK. We have got a lot of deep ruts, and I suppose like all these dual sport or compromised trail bikes, they don't have enough clearance in the foot pegs to get through ruts. But no, that's kind of just one of them things. The brakes, it doesn't have switchable ABS. The brakes aren't ever so bitey. They don't offer a great amount of initial bite, but that's not a bad thing for trail riding. More so on the road, obviously. I think you need a bit more bite on these brakes, and I think one of the first things might be just to change the pads, just see if a softer pad might help that a little bit. But otherwise, this is a £4,000 bike, and I don't think there's anything you would want to change other than handguards are going to be good for it. I think that's one thing you do need on it. And if I was doing these kind of lanes a lot, then I would put some knobbly tyres on it. Probably whether it's Continental TKC80s or some Anarchy Wilds or some of the new Anlast tyres from Turkey, which are supposed to be pretty good. So okay, second gear, pulling up this quite relatively steep, well, it's not that steep, but it's a bit of kick out from the rear down to first. Just not let the engine over labour when it's being run in. Easy pull up there, straight up, no problem. Very easy to ride bike. I think novice friendly. You know, I'm stood up, but if you were doing that sat down, you would have no problems at all. It does look like we've had some 4x4 action up here. Turn that off a little bit, which is annoying. As I say, just taking it easy with my ankle. I think it's the fuel injection that's probably the biggest strong point of this bike, or the thing that surprises me the most. There's a lot of bikes come out of China with very poor fueling, and they'll stall very easy and they'll have a very lumpy pickup, and this doesn't have either of that. It's a very clean pickup. And doing a bit of research, I don't remember the exact name, it was a German company that do the fuel injection, and they also do fuel injection for Hondas, Triumph and BMW. So they have got good people to do the fueling on the bike. I don't know if I said before, but the frame itself was designed by Harris Engineering in Leicester, who are known for their engineering work on race bikes and things, so I think they know what they're doing. The weight of the bike feels good. I'm just thinking 185 kilos wet the bike weighs. Now, that's not light for a trail bike, but the weight feels quite centralised. It feels very slim, the bike does, and the weight feels quite low down, so it doesn't feel like an intimidating weight at all. Certainly not at these kind of speeds. Again, it's the suspension. You know, coming down these kind of roads where you've just got these shallow divots and little crests, that's where, and it's kind of a fast consistency of bumps, and it sometimes on some bikes it don't give them time to recover, the suspension time to recover. Going down on here, yeah, perfectly fine. It soaks up nicely. Third gear. Getting a little bit tired on my ankle. Self-inflicted bike injury, stuffed into the car in front on the motorway. Broken ankle, thankfully that's all it was, but I think pretty much healed now, though I don't really want to have a spill. Lovely little lane though, this is just near me. It's nice and long, so you haven't got any breaks for traffic or roads. It's not obviously a challenging trail, it's not what you call a tough off-road green lane, whatever you want to call it. But it's very nice just for assessing a bike in this terrain. Changing, just taking it steady. Yeah, changing cambers, some uphill, some downhill, some mud. And it's quiet, which is what you want. A bit more power up here, third gear, no, second gear, just pulling nicely. Bit of spin from the rear. Nice growl from the exhaust, yep, it's like that, I like that. It's pushing on, it's pushing on. Exhaust sounds good under load. Pushing on a little bit more throttle. Nice and responsive. Weight back a little bit, just over these bumps. Yeah, that's fine. Soaks them up fine, no worries there, yep. We're doing about 30 there. Down a gear. Just to steady my speed around here. Oh, we went a bit narrow. I wanted to take a wider line, never mind. Second gear. Very gentle power delivery. Lovely, lovely. Fucking £4,000. People say I'm biased because I bought one, but I bought one without riding it. I did like the idea, I'll be honest. I really like the idea of a £4,000 egalitarian, utilitarian motorcycle that was built with minimum fuss, minimal electronics, minimal badge engineering, just a simple bike that you can ride. And I really like the pitch of it, and I thought, well, you've got to get behind a bike like this, because not very often manufacturers do, and half of the time when manufacturers do, the industry or the customer turns their back on them in favour of the established brands. So I want this bike to succeed. I bought it without riding it. I'm glad I like it. If I'd have ridden it down there and it was shit, I would have been a little bit disappointed, but stuck with it for a year. I'm happy with that. That's a good first test ride. I like the bike, I like the power, I like the handling, I like the standing up position. I like the look of it, and I like the feel of it. And that's back set down. Nice easy ride, 29 miles on the clock. A little bit of light trail action. Happy days, can't wait to do some more miles on it.